Good evening, everyone. Asian Standard is our London arm, and because I'm in Bradford, and I'm a Bradford born and bred girl, I'm very proud of our Bradford title, which is Asian Sunday. Asian Sunday was the very first free Sunday newspaper that launched in 2011, and we also launched in London in 2013, when I had Bradford celebrities Dynamo, Kimberly Walsh, come and launch our newspaper. So it was a very exciting time for us. But I'm not going to talk too much about the newspaper today, because obviously we're talking about women and women in industry, and obviously the 100 years of women developing the suffragettes celebration. So just before I go on to what I'm going to talk about, in terms of my business, just to give you a quick overview, Asian Standard, as Stephen said, is our London newspaper. It's a weekly newspaper that is delivered across London. Asian Sunday is our Bradford-only newspaper, so that's delivered free across Bradford and district. So anybody who's from Keighley, yes, we deliver there as well. We haven't forgotten Keighley as part of Bradford's district. And then I have two other titles. Asian Style magazine, so anybody who's into Bollywood, and obviously fashion and lifestyle and all of that. So our Asian Style magazine is a subscription-based magazine which is published every month and is subscribed by just over 70,000 subscribers now. So Bollywood is very, very popular in the UK. And our final project, which is about to launch very soon, is a magazine called The Desi Kitchen. And that's going to be the very first food magazine that specifically discusses cuisine from the South Asian subcontinent, so Asian cuisine. What I'm going to talk to you about today is, alongside my media hat and all the publications that I do, for my sins, because I can't sit still, I decided to take on another project this year, and that was the Bradford Curry Awards. By the way, how many of you in this room are from Bradford? And how many of you enjoy going out for your curries? Almost everybody in the room. Okay. So this is the very first time Bradford is going to have its own curry awards. It's never been done before. We've won the curry capital 6 times in a row, and we still are the title holders, so that's great. But who's the best of the best? And that's what we're going to find out at the curry awards. So over the last 2 months, what we've done is we've been asking the public to nominate their favourite establishments in 8 categories. So it's not just the big businesses, it's also the people who work behind the scenes, like the managers, the chefs, and obviously looking at customer service, looking at who delivers the best in terms of their vegetarian offer and so on. The votes closed last week, and we've now produced the finalist list. And what will happen now is a panel of judges will now go and visit the finalists through mystery judging, and then choose the final winners, who will be announced at an award ceremony on the 17th of April, so it's not far. So whilst I've been on this journey trying to obviously recognise and celebrate our great curry industry, which contributes quite a large amount to the Bradford economy, I would say at least 40%, based on the figures that we've done, is contributed from the Bradford curry industry to the local economy. If you look around Bradford, how many female chefs, I mean, I'm looking at the curry industry specifically, but how many female chefs are there? How many do you know of? No. Less than 1%. Less than 1%. If we're looking at the stats now, UK-wide, let's have a look. Currently, based on 2016, the Office of National Statistics stats, 250,000 professional chefs in the UK, but only, do you guys want to have a guess how much percent of that is women? 18.5% of that, 46,000, is women. But the tragedy really is that in 2015 we had 21,000 less chefs. So it grew by 21,000 chefs in 2016, yet the percentage of women declined. So the industry grew, chefs grew, but the number of women going into the industry declined. Now, just some stats going backwards. 2001, can you guess how many women were professional chefs in 2001? 2001, there were 126,000 professional female chefs, making up 48% of the industry. So it's strange, we've gone a little bit back. So why has that happened? Now, been doing some other research to see what professional male chefs think about female chefs. Who's heard of Fernand Point? You might have done, because he's a well-known French master chef, known as the father of French cuisine. Now, he in 1950 said, and I quote exactly what he said, only men have the technique, discipline, and passion that makes cooking consistently an art. That's what he said in 1950. Obviously, everybody knows Mr. Gordon Ramsay, and he's been to Bradford. Now, he said in 2005, there is a huge number of women who know how to mix cocktails, but can't cook to save their lives. Now, as a Muslim woman, I know that's not true, because we don't drink. So that goes out the equation, especially in Bradford anyway. So these are the things that were said by professional male chefs. And it gets worse, actually, because obviously the female chefs that we do know who are famous, Delia Smith, Mary Berry, sadly, these women get relegated to being labelled as home cooks rather than big, hyped celebrity cooks that the men normally get. In fact, if you go onto Wikipedia, they've done a very good job of describing Delia Smith. They've described her as a teacher of basic cookery skills. So it's a good thing there's only one guy in the audience today, isn't there? So what's going on in the industry? Now, question to you all. How many of, obviously there's all mainly ladies here, how many of you cook at home?
Yeah, every day.
You do? Oh, fantastic. And how would you rate your cooking? Would you say it's
An 8.
an 8? Oh, fantastic. That's very confident. How excellent. So how would you rate your cooking?
3.
Are you speaking for... You've obviously tried the food.
3. I'll get there.
Get there. Fantastic. It's really strange how in 2001 there was 126,000 female chefs and it's declined. And a lot of people say the reasons for that is because long hours. Chefs do work long, unsociable hours. But also... somebody actually, a female chef, quoted this to me. She says, it's really difficult working in the kitchen because you need to have a fiery, and no pun intended with that, but a fiery personality to get on. And if you don't, you're going to struggle. And that's probably why women don't tend to take this on as a professional career. But the irony is, what do we all say? Mothers are the best cooks. Even the top male chefs say there's nothing like mum's cooking. So if it is, then why are we not represented in the industry? Why is it why are the stats so poor? So my job now is with the Curry Awards. What we want to do is, as well as celebrate the industry, is each year have a cause, and our cause this year is to see how we can try and encourage more women to join the industry. Now, aside from obviously all the publications that I run, I also have another arm. Like you said, those women, we just can't stop constantly working. And the other arm of my business, well, it's not my business, but it's my foundation, which is called the Inspirational Women Foundation. It's a not-for-profit organisation which supports women of any background, any age, on any level, whether it's something as basic as writing a CV, to lobbying in Parliament, to dealing with a very serious case such as domestic violence. And we've been running some workshops lately for women at grassroots level who are mainly homemakers, housewives, probably never worked before, but they come to the workshop to just, de-stress from every day, because we all know housework's probably one of the most difficult jobs you could ever have. So they come to these workshops, and what they do is, through cooking, they'll come share their recipes and share their stories. So they'll all get into the kitchen, a bit of teamwork, see how they can all work together, cook a meal, and then sit down and eat. And I've realised that a lot of these ladies have so much talent in terms of cooking. I mean, have you ever tossed a chapati before? For those of you who make chapatis, trust me, it's very sticky dough, and if you don't put it on the pan quick, it's going to get all over. This lady was flipping chapatis, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So I said, so how come you've never decided to take on, do this as a profession, as a career? You'd be amazing. And again, it was the issue of, well, it's really difficult because we've got children. It's hard to work around children's lives. But also, I think it was the fear of what they're going to find working in a professional restaurant kitchen, because there's this mentality that's very male-dominated. And I'll tell you why we have this mentality. Not why, sorry, but an example of how this mentality breeds. How many of you have said, I want, the food was amazing, I'd like to meet the chef so I can tell him how lovely the food was? We just do it automatically, don't we? We just assume the chef's going to be a guy. Why? Yeah, could be a new word, couldn't it? So why do we do that? Why do we say it? It's, and why is, for example, Delia Smith described the way she is on Wikipedia? Maybe media has a role to play, or maybe it's going back to when we were growing up, that we were told that women are cooks but only at home, not in industry. So my job over the next, I don't know however long it's going to take me, but is to try and get Bradford's curry industry more representative and more equal, and have more women being represented and getting careers into the hospitality industry. So that's it, short and brief for me. Nothing else really to say, but I would like to say, if any of you want to be chefs, ladies, come and talk to me. But if any of you want to give me feedback in terms of what I'm planning to do on my project and try and get more women into the industry, I'd love that. So if any of you meet anybody that wants to take this on but is lacking confidence or very worried about how the dynamics of that industry works, then I'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.